right. We're on visual radio on Zoom. On Zoom, we're talking on Myrtle Beach, North Carolina, and Jimi Holl. Hello, Jimmy.
How you doing? What's going on?
I'm doing great, man. It's like, so in this room, like 30 years ago, I used to edit VHS tape over there.
Wow.
And they turned it into a Zoom room. And I was a member elsewhere for many years, and I just rejoined. And I'm so pleased. This place is like the best Zoom room.
Looks good. Sounds great.
Yeah, we've been doing this so long, Jim, right?
Yeah.
How long?
I've never edited videotape though. I can honestly say that.
That's good.
Only audio, that's it.
When did you start?
Start as far as what?
Everything. Life. Where'd you
Well,
grow up?
Well, I grew up in a town called Richfield Park. That's in Bergen County, New Jersey. It's probably about 20 to 25 minutes outside New York City. You get on the turnpike and go through the Lincoln Tunnel, and you're right there into New York. So I grew up there, and I lived there for, 40-something years. I worked in Manhattan for a long time, up until about 2013. And then I retired. I used to be a union carpenter, believe it or not. I worked as a carpenter for years. And I got hurt on the job and I stopped doing that. And now I'm into property management. But all that time while I was working as a carpenter, I was a DJ as well. I did that part-time. And I started out as a DJ when I was 19 years old, and I worked in a lot of clubs. I did a lot of live events throughout the tri-state area. I worked some events in Vegas, California, Chicago, Detroit. I've been to DJing, but I didn't start getting into radio until later on in life. I didn't get into radio until 2006. And what I did is I launched my own station on live365.com. I don't know if you ever heard of that site.
Of course, yes.
And I started the record machine on that site in 2006. And I was doing that up until about 2014. But it got to be so expensive to run a station because the more listeners you get, the more bandwidth it requires, and then you have to pay more money for that. So it got to be very costly, and I wasn't making a lot of money off of it, so I stopped doing it. And then I started doing, I was doing a lot of live shows, like in the chats, the ones like the Vaughn Live or the Mixcloud and stuff like that. So I was doing a Saturday night show every Saturday where I played music and I took requests, phone calls and stuff like that. But it wasn't until 2017 when a light went off in my head and I said, I wonder what would happen if I had an actual musician on the show and interviewed them. And my wife says to me, well, why don't you give it a shot? So I was on Facebook one day. And you know how you're on your homepage and you see where they suggest people that you can be friends with? Oh, you may know this person or something.
All right.
So I'm looking at it and I see the name and it's Louis St. August from Mass. So I was like, I know that guy. I used to listen to his music all the time when I was younger. So I says to my wife, well, maybe if I ask him to come on the show, maybe he'll do it. So I sent him a friend's request and he replied like within like an hour or two. He accepted it and then I invited him on the show and he accepted that invitation as well. And I've had him on the show about 3 or 4 times. And I actually went out to Mass with my friend Dan. We drove out to Malden and we spent the weekend out there and we saw Mass perform with Charlie Farron. I'm sure you know who that is.
Oh, yeah. Charlie's an old friend.
At I think it's called Mix 360. It's a club in Malden, Mass.
I go by it every night to the gym.
Yeah. So that's basically how it started, and that's how I met Lewis.
Have you had Charlie on?
No, and I don't know what happened with that. I had sent him a message, and he sent me a message back, and we just never got it together. So I should reach out to him because he really is a talented guy, and I love his music. I'd love to have him on.
Well, Joe Perry Project. Yeah, he wrote the theme to the Living Daylights, and then they nixed it and gave it to Aha. But he let me put out his theme to Living Daylights, the James Bond movie.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that would be a great one to play. He'd rather play his own music, but it's just such a classic, and the James Bond fans went nuts when they found out. Wow, here's a song that was made for the movie, and then they dropped it for the band Aha, and they would have been better off using Charlie's. But
Wow.
yeah, he you got to have Charlie on. He's got a storied history.
Yeah, I definitely got to reach out to him again. I think I still have his number somewhere. It
I'll
may
just
still be in
I'll
my
write
phone.
you guys both and say, hey, I had Jimmy Holl on tonight. You know, and so I'll send you his email.
All right, cool. That would be great.
Yeah, yeah, because
Yeah.
I email him all the time.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah,
but
he's a good guy.
it's like so I contacted you to interview Katoto Love.
Right. Yeah, she was great.
But the funny thing is, you told me that you and your wife saw an Indeed commercial for Sunny.
Yeah, it was playing like right before you had mentioned that. It was like on TV, like it might have been the same day you had asked me to do the interview with her. And I was just like, I said to my wife, holy crap. I said, he's asking me to interview Bobby Hebb's daughter and about she does a version of Sunny. She's like, yeah, we just heard that on the TV. It was in the commercial for that website, Indeed or whatever. And I
Yeah.
was like, that's pretty that's pretty scary. It's like someone's watching. Yeah, it's like you ever notice when you look for something, like you Google something on your phone, and then the next thing you know, it's all over your feed. Like
Well,
it's
they
like, how
do
do they
that.
know that you're searching for this product or that product?
Oh,
But it's
that's
all
the
over
cookies.
Facebook.
That's the cookies.
The
The,
cookies?
the cookies follow you.
Oh, okay.
So yes, but the weird thing is the real life. The real life is kind of like reflecting. We have cookies following us. So did you watch The Matrix?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay, and I love my favorite character is the Oracle. And
Yes.
Gloria Foster was amazing. And the other woman who was in a play with her, they replaced her when she passed for the third movie. Both great actresses. So the interesting thing is she's given Neo's cookies.
Mm-hmm.
And did people get it that she was giving him cookies to track him? That
Yeah.
was the cookies. She was part of the machines.
Right.
So and he didn't realize it. And she's handing him cookies and she's tracking him. So it's just the whole Matrix thing is an amazing story.
Definitely.
Anyway, I mean, I love it and I study it and all that, but there are coincidences in life, and you just can't. I'm going to buy cat food for Susie at Stop and Shop,
Okay.
and I walk in and I haven't heard this song in years, and Susie Q by Creedence is on. You can't
Right.
make it up. And I'm talking to Rob Fraboni and walking into the same store, and Jumpin' Jack Flash is on, which he didn't do, but he worked for the Stones. And it's like, what is this store? Like, jinxed? So then I go to buy more food for Susie, and there's a
Mm-hmm.
cordon around the store. There was a shooting in Revere,
Wow.
the Revere Stop and Shop, where Louis lives, right? Or lived before. He's in Wilmington now, I think. But so the news media comes over to me, and they're like, "What do you think of a shooting in Revere?" And I go, "Well, I come here to buy food for Susie." I told them the Susie Q story. They loved it, but they cut it out. They put me on TV talking about the shooting. It was just, and then I go into the gym and it's on TV. People say, "You're on TV." Weird. I
Funny.
mean, Jimmy, it's just weird how life is, right? The cookies
Right. Well, you just brought up for Brony, right?
for Brony, right?
Yeah, so like about an hour or two ago, I have Netflix, so I'm watching this show. I think it's called I wrote it down because I wanted to make sure I told you about it. Oh, it's called Homicide L.A. Brony is in one of the episodes.
Now, is it is it
He's
from
sitting on the, huh?
is it from Court TV?
It's I don't know where it's from, but he's talking about Phil Spector because Phil Spector was accused and convicted of murdering Lana. I forget her last name, um, but apparently Fabroni knew both of them.
He was
And
the only person from all these series that knew both because he dated her, and
Mhm.
then later, when he got married, she became a friend of him and his wife, right? And then he was at the Phil Spector sessions early in his career.
Yeah, they
So
showed the footage on the show that I was watching. They showed a young Fabroni sitting with Spector in the studio.
yeah, so it's amazing. So he knew both. So I was at the TV station in Medford, and we're talking like when that happened. What was that? '90s, right? I think it was.
I think it was early 2000.
All right, so if it's early 2000, Court TV writes to the station looking for Rob Fraboni, trying to get a hold of me. So I got it to Rob, and he did 2 episodes, I guess, at Court TV, and that was like the first. And now there's these movies on Spectre, and he's in them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty messed up.
yeah.
Yeah, he was sitting on the couch and he's telling the story. He's like, yeah, if I would have known Lana was gonna go to his house, I would have told her not to go.
Well, do you know what happened? She called him to go out with him that night.
Wow.
She called him to hang out with him, and he was in a hotel. He said, "No, no, I'm too tired." But he said to me, "Joe, if she ever told me she was going out with Phil Spector, I would not have let her go."
Oh yeah, that's what he said in the video. He's like, there's too many red flags with that guy. That's what he said. He had a temper and he's always waving guns and stuff like that. That's what he said in the video. So yeah, that's pretty tragic what happened to her, man. Like, totally not cool what he did.
And when you talk about coincidences, that she called Rob, and that Rob was too tired to go out, that if he only went out with her, she'd be alive today, maybe.
Mm, maybe.
And it's like he's a dear friend of mine, as you know. Keith Richards introduced us, so and that's how I met Rob. I mean,
Mm,
and
yeah. It's
so
a small world, right?
it's our music world is small. So when you were 19, what kind of music did you play?
Well, when I started out doing the clubs and the parties, I did a lot of club music, disco and freestyle music like that for the clubs. But when I did the live events, I did anything from the 40s all the way up till the 90s when I was working as far as a mobile DJ. I did all kinds of events. We did stuff down the Jersey Shore, and we did Hoboken, we did New York City, all kinds of stuff. And then when I went to Vegas, we performed at the DJ convention there, and I did a few tree lightings down in was that Bryant Park in New York during the holiday season. We did those, and it I played pretty much everything. I actually even opened up one time for Randy and the Rainbows. I DJ'd for the crowd while he was, you know, getting ready to go on stage and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. I don't know if you remember
Oh,
him.
I love that song. I played it in my piano set. Denise.
Yeah, it's like that big hit. But yeah, it was pretty fun experience. I got to meet all the guys and all that other stuff. But he was actually playing at it was a small venue. It was like a VFW or Knights of Columbus in the area where I grew up in, and a lot of old people there and stuff. But it was pretty fun.
And then Blondie had the big hit with it again.
Yeah, yep, that was a good one.
Yeah. Debbie Harry is amazing. Very intelligent woman and very smart what they did with their career. Blondie was just an amazing, amazing group. So I bumped into her in the Rat Skella. So the Rat was the beginning of the new wave. And we were all hanging out down there. And there'd be Elvis Costello hanging out and Blondie. And I said, Blondie, I'm trying to buy your record on private stock. And she was fuming. I said, it's in no stores and it's getting airplay. And she was really, wow. and then she went to Chrysalis, and the rest is history.
Nice. Yeah,
But
she was very talented.
but those were the old days where Charlie Farron used to play with a band called Red Lobster, I guess.
Nice.
Charlie had very many permutations. That did John Butcher, and I think Butcher and Charlie had a band for a while too. Have you talked to John Butcher ever?
No, I actually had a girl on that he did a song with. I don't know if you ever heard of her, Megan Harney.
No.
He played guitar on the song and he produced it. I had her on, but I've never had him on the show. But yeah, she said he helped her a lot.
Yeah,
So
John's amazing. He does a lot of soundtrack work. He did soundtrack for Star Trek: The Next Generation, Deadwood, and they put him in the Deadwood TV show. He was the blacksmith
oh, nice.
on HBO. So he'd be a great guy to talk to because he was on Spencer Proffer's label. Very small studio. Jimmy Miller and I went to see Spencer Proffer. And yeah, this is about as big as this, maybe twice the size of this room. It was very small, but that's where he did all those great records, Quiet Riot and John Butcher out
Yeah, it
there
was
in LA.
Pasha, right? Pasha
I
Records.
think you're right.
Yeah, I think so, because that was the label that Quiet Riot was on.
Yeah.
Pasha, Pasha, Pasha.
How long you been doing it on Mixcloud?
To go back to what we were talking about earlier, so after I had Lewis on, it was a live call. Like it was during while I was on the air, and there was, people listening and calling in and in the chat room and stuff. And when the interview was done, they had said to me, "Well, who are you going to have on next?" And I'm like looking at them like, "Oh, I didn't really think that far ahead. I wasn't thinking that I was even going to interview another person." But I got so much positive feedback from that interview, I decided to start reaching out to other people. So that was around the end of 2017. So I did a few more live interviews on my Saturday night show. Um, and then I decided I'm not going to do a music show anymore. I'm just going to do interviews and feature the music of the artist and just spotlight the one person. So once I did that, that was 2018. From 2018 until present day, I've been on exclusively on Mixcloud only. And every week I put up a brand new episode with a brand new artist with a whole new, songs and whole new story.
You got a lot of followers.
Yeah, I developed over the years. I think it's close to 7 or 8,000. I'm not sure. I think it's close to 7,000. But I get a lot of friends requests, and what I do is when people listen to my show, I can tell if they have a show on there as well. So what I do is I listen to their show, and then I comment on their show, and I like their show, and they do it back to me. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you help me out, I help you out, and that's how you spread the word. And it's also important too. I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but when you post a show on Mixcloud, make sure you tag it right because there's 5 tags. Those are categories that that podcast could land on it. You can land on a global chart. Like if you look at my page right now, the latest episode, where it says interview, there's a number next to it. That number could be 14, 20, 1, 2. That's the ranking on that global chart for the week. So right now, I think the interview that I just did, I think it might be at 14. That's global. Like that's in the whole world. That's ranked number 14 on that chart. So you can pick up the 5 charts, but you got to make sure that you pick, you tag it right. Don't make up your own tag. Pick the ones that they got.
Ah,
And that's how you like when you do this, if you post this on Mixcloud, tag it on an interview. Then maybe do another tag that says talk, because that's what we're doing. And then maybe podcast, then radio would be one too. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
And you'll see. You start doing that, you'll start getting on different charts every week. And it does work. And it does that's how you get friends or followers too, because people do follow those charts, and when they look at who's in the top 20 or the top 100, they'll see, and if they see something they're interested in, they'll look at it, they'll listen to it, and you may gain a follower or two just from doing the right tag.
Interesting.
Yep, definitely. I mean, it's helped me out a lot along the way. When I started on Mixcloud back, it was the end of 2017. That's when I started uploading the shows on there. Um, I only maybe had like 30 or 40 followers. And then every week it was just getting bigger and bigger. Now, like I said, now I'm close to 7,000. And not everybody that listens to the show is actually has an account on Mixcloud either. You can still listen without having an account.
Oh, I
You just
didn't know
can't.
that. Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can't post anything. Um, yeah, you can't post or comment, I don't think, but you still can listen to the show. So I do get a lot of those too.
So, are we looking at you in your office?
Yeah, like right behind here. This is like my 45s collection and stuff. And then you can't see to the left of me. I have a whole wall full of albums. Um, I got cassettes over here. I got another monitor over here. My console's right in front of me. There's actually a bar behind me too, a full bar that I actually built by hand. And then I have a whole lounge to the left of me. I have a sitting area with a couch and a recliner, a massage recliner, and a big screen TV. And I got ceiling fans up in here and stuff. It's pretty cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You could bring guests right in.
Yeah, I even got an on air sign right above me too.
Ah, that's cool. So, do
Yeah.
you have a cassette machine?
I have a machine. I have an 8-track machine. I have two Stanton turntables. I have a CD jukebox. I used to have a two Denon cart machines, but I sold those. I always wanted to get a reel to reel, but I never got my hands on a good one that worked. You know, I thought it would look pretty cool in the studio,
Oh, sure,
but
they look great.
I never got one.
And reel to reel tapes, you'll find them on eBay now. Isn't that,
Yeah, you can get them. Yep, definitely. But all my 8 tracks work. So do my cassettes too.
well, you're very organized and very neat, and you do a lot of good work for the bands I send you. We're real happy with the Zale interview. Zale
Yeah,
himself.
nice. He was very nice, very cool guy. I mean, you send me a lot of good people. For Brony, his wife was awesome, Kelly. I mean, I would love to interview her again. It's a shame, what happened with her.
She had so many things going on. She had a TV show in the making. She had written a script, and she was a very dear friend of mine. So for me, it was a personal loss. But it's more compounded by I know what Rob and Lucia are going through because I talk to Rob all the time. So it is not even time for my loss on Kelly because I have to understand what Rob's going through, and he's just kind of recovering now. It takes a long while.
Yeah, I'm sure. I remember when you were telling me, when it had happened, I was total shock about it. And I remember, I think it was you who told me that her daughter had listened to the interview a couple of times so she could hear her mom's voice because her mom was talking to me on the air. I think I might have been one of the last people to interview her, maybe. I don't know.
She was recording with Sean Walsh out in, I don't know if it was Detroit or where they recorded, and she passed out there during a session. I mean, in her
Yeah.
hotel room, but she had recorded two vocals on the album. And you've interviewed Sean, I believe.
Oh yeah, he's been on the show. He was
Yeah,
great too.
yeah. Well, he's an interesting character, and I found him through Rob. Um, so Rob does amazing. In fact, I told Sean and Rob they should do an instrumental version of that album along with the vocal version because it is so well done. You want to hear all the instruments. It's just so. Again, another great record by Rob.
Oh yeah, definitely. Brilliant, brilliant work on there. And you know, his wife, She was very talented. She had a lot of great music in her, I bet. And now we're never going to hear it. You know.
Now, what I'm doing with Rob is I'm taking his interviews off of YouTube. And did you
Hmm.
know that at the bottom of YouTube where it says more, you can hit
Hmm.
transcription? It's now transcribing the interviews.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I used to, when I first started doing the interview only show, like I had told you back in the end of 2017, I posted the first couple on YouTube. And the issue with that is they kept flagging me. They would flag my show saying I didn't have the rights to play the music that I played. Meanwhile, the artist said it was okay to put those songs on there. So they were basically telling me, "Oh, you can only put the conversation only. You cannot play the music." So that's what made me decide, you know what? I'm not even gonna mess with these people. I'm just gonna, get a Mixcloud account, and that's when I started posting up on Mixcloud. I'm glad you brought that up because I totally forgot about that.
Well, now YouTube is paying for the music.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see,
So,
I didn't know that because it was like every time I went and post something, they flagged it. So I was like, this is BS. I'm not doing this. And then I wound up going to Mixcloud, and I'm kind of glad I did because it's a great platform, and there's a lot of great followers on there, and I wouldn't trade it with YouTube at all anyway. I'm gonna stay where I am.
I should correct myself. I recorded the Stones Tumbling Dice. I can record a song. They'll flag the copyright, but they let me put it up because it's me singing. Sorry.
Right.
I think they would flag it if I put the Stones doing it.
They probably would because
Right.
it's not you. They'll probably say, "Well, this guy doesn't have the rights to do that." You know what I mean?
Now, what
So
I'd like to do, and I'll do it in private so that people can't see it, I might take your Boney interview and put it on YouTube so I can get the transcription.
yeah, you could do that after the music starts. You could probably transcribe it. Plus, you know what? I could probably send you just the interview without the music in it, like just not produced. It's edited, but there's no effects or anything. There's no intro. There's no
Oh,
music, no songs, nothing like that.
wow.
Yeah, so I can give you just the interview itself without the music or anything like that. If you want, I can send that to you.
Oh, that'd be wonderful because then there's
On with it.
there's a thing on YouTube. I can take Rob's picture, make an
Hmm.
MP3 of your audio,
Right.
and then you put them together, and they make an MP4.
Yeah,
Tovid,
it's like almost like a picture video with the audio from the interview.
Tovid, right? Then I can upload it, and then I can take the transcription, and that's what we're doing. We're taking all his interviews and doing transcriptions. So for the book and the DVD, we're doing a documentary on Rob.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll send that over to you tonight. I'll give you the
Oh,
conversation without the music and everything.
he will thank you. I'll send it right to him as well. I mean, he will thank you very much.
No problem. Yeah, that was good. I think it was like almost an hour and 20-minute conversation. So,
Well, the interesting thing with him is I talked to him like he was Bonnie Raitt's boyfriend for years, right? I don't know if you knew that.
no, I didn't know that.
He produced 2 albums for her. So we're doing this documentary film, and I said, "Well, I'm going to put the green light album up." I said, and Baby Come Back, the Equals. Remember that song?
Yeah.
Baby
Hmm.
Come Back. So, and this is great because we're doing a trailer for the video. And I said, yeah, and I got the Baby Come Back. He goes, oh, that was my idea. I said, what are you talking about? And I don't have the tape recorder going, right? And this is just a phone conversation. He goes, I'm driving to the studio and the Equals come on. I love them. And I love that song. And I went in the studio and we started recording it. And I'm like, whoa, for the documentary, because I have the intro with the trailer. He's talking about Clapton, the Stones, Bonnie Raitt, Joe Cocker, Bob Dylan, the Beach Boys. And it really is an amazing documentary because you're getting 30 seconds of Rob giving little quips about working with them. And that Bonnie one is perfect. But that's how that came about. I brought it up and he goes, oh, yeah, I'm the one who wanted them to cut the cover. And you can go to YouTube and hear Bonnie Raitt, Baby Come Back. And it's anyways. Fun
Yeah,
stuff we're doing.
I can definitely hook you up with that. That's not a problem at all.
So, what do you do out these days? Where do you vacation?
The last time that me and my wife actually went on a real vacation was I want to say 2014. We went to the Bahamas. That was the last time. We're planning on doing one. She wants to take me to Florida because you believe I've never been to Florida.
My dad lives there.
I've never been to Florida. That's one of the places I've never been to.
Wow.
And yeah, and I'm like a diehard Yankee fan. So she was thinking, well, maybe next year we can go there for the spring training, like in February and March. So that's something. And then the other place I want to go to that I haven't been to is Nashville. Um, I always wanted to go there, and I actually have some friends that live there, so it'd be nice to go there and actually hang out with them. You know what I mean?
Well, we work with the Bobby Hebb Estate. We work closely with the Country Music Hall of Fame in Nashville.
Hmm.
So you'd have to go there. And there's a little Bobby Hebb exhibit, I guess. And
Yeah, no, definitely. I would probably do like a at least 7 days there and just take everything in. I think it would be interesting. So
it's music is exploding in Nashville.
yeah. Um, a guy I had met a couple of years ago, he used to live in LA. His name is Jason Hollis. Um, he has a brand called the Punk Aristocrats, and he was representing a couple of bands, specifically Jimmy Sweet. He's an artist that I've had on the show several times, and he's also represented Film Speed and a band called 42 King. And he had moved out of Los Angeles, I guess it was a year or two ago, and now he has a club called the Eighth Room in Nashville, and he has all these great artists perform there. So I'd like to go out and see him there too and check out his club. You know,
Interesting. How big is it?
I don't even know. I mean, I've just seen the pictures. I've seen the pictures on Facebook and stuff like that. It looks like a decent size. A lot of people play there. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, when he got it, supposedly him and his wife they kind of like gutted it and you know cleaned everything up and tried to make it to its original form and did a lot of painting and decorating and stuff like that. But supposedly it's a real hot spot there now, the Eighth Room in Nashville. So if you're in Nashville, folks, and you're listening, check it out.
So you do a show a week?
I do. I try to do. Yeah, it's definitely one show a week. There has been in the past. There has been times where I've done two or three in a week. Because I either had to cancel or the artist couldn't do it any other time. So I did it in the same week I had done other ones. Um, and then there was also some time where I took a hiatus where, especially when I moved from New Jersey to North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I took several months off. I was probably 6 months off the air. I wasn't even doing anything. Um, but now it's just once a week. I kind of like it that way because I don't want to overdo it. To me, less is more. If you keep posting day after day, you're not doing a service to the artist that you had on before because now you're asking people to listen to something else when they barely finished the one that you just posted. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's good. And as far as like cloud goes, like I told you, those charts stay on for a week. So once they're on for more than a week, that if they fall off, they stay on your page, but they're not on that chart anymore. So once I post one, it charts. Once it falls off the chart, then I post a new one. You see what I'm saying? And so it's every week I have a new episode, and it's charting at some position somewhere. It could be between 1 and 100. I mean, one time I had this guy on, and his name is Billy Ray Rock, and I met him through Michael Stover. He runs MTS Records and MTS Management out of uh, Pittsburgh. I had this guy Billy Ray Rock on, and I posted it on 5 charts. I was number one for 7 days on every chart I posted. It was the first time that I ever seen number ones all the way across the board. And it's never happened again. I've had one, two, five, six, whatever. I've always, I get in the top 10 a lot, but to be number one straight across, five across the board for 7 days straight, number one, I thought that was pretty damn cool.
Now, is this guy well known?
He's pretty decent. I mean, he's good at it. I mean, I don't, know too much about his personal life, but it could have been, like I said, the way I posted it, the charts that I picked, it could have been, maybe he shared it with a lot of people. The other thing too is when you post your show, you want people to comment on it. You want people to repost it. You want people to click on that little heart. All those things help you move up the chart. So maybe that's what happened too. Maybe he was sharing it a lot. I shared it a lot. Michael from MTS was sharing it, and that's how it moves up. But it was number one on five charts for 7 days straight. I was totally like blown away.
Oh, that's amazing. Um, have you thought of a book, writing a book about your interviews and your experiences in being a radio DJ?
I don't, maybe maybe I could do that like when I'm done, like when I'm not doing the interviews anymore. I save all my notes and everything. Um, so maybe that's something I can do when I'm not doing the show anymore. Right now, I don't have any plans not to do it. It's just, with my job, I work 40 hours a week, managing property. And, I drive an hour to work and an hour back from work. So it takes up a lot of my time. The only reason why I'm off today is because I have to work on Saturday. Normally, because I took this new position, I'm off on the weekends. But they had a situation where they need me to work on Saturday, so they gave me off today.
Oh, and
But
here we are. Wow.
yeah, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of my time, and yeah, I mean, you know how it is. This business does not pay a lot of money, so you have to have a backup plan. Um, I've always had two jobs. I never just survived off the money I made from DJing or doing radio shows. It's just it's just not feasible for me. I'm married. I own a brand new home that I had custom built from the ground up. So I have my wife, I have my two kids. You know, you can't support that with a DJ salary.
No, it's for single people for sure.
Exactly.
And it's such a volatile business because some of the great DJs, um, they get fired for no fault of their own. They get fired because the station is leveraging out and getting advertising and supporting other stations in the network. Oh, he's got to go. The salary's too high, and it's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, radio is not the same as it used to be. Like I don't even listen to the radio in my car. I still have a CD player in my car. So what I do is like when guys like you send me artists to have on the show and you send me files to listen to like songs and stuff, I burn them to a CD and I label them and everything and I bring all the CDs in my car. So I have an hour every day driving to work and then another hour coming home. So I do all my research that way. Every day I get up at 4 in the morning, right? 4:15. I go through my emails and stuff like that. If I see any submissions, like artist submissions with music, I'll burn them up on a CD, put them in my briefcase, get in my car. I drive an hour to work. While I'm driving, I listen to the music. I'm like, oh, this is great. This is great. This ain't so great. What you know what I mean? And that's how it actually the commute gives me, time to do that. I mean, a good hour, 2 hours every day listening to new music. That's basically what I do every day. And then once I get to work, I do my job. And then when I get in the car, I listen to the music again. And, when I'm home on the weekend, that's when I'll break out my vinyl, like my record collection, and I'll listen to, the artists that I love, like Chicago and Earth, Wind and Fire, and I love Elvis, a big Elvis fan. The Beatles, I have a huge collection. So
In Boston, there's 101.3 FM, which is this new low power. So the FCC was allowing people to get low power FM, and they did it again recently. They find more space on the dial, and they make low power. And Bob Bidner had 740 AM. I was a DJ there in 2000, and I got to put my Lou Reed interview up there. I interviewed Lou. Well, Bob passed away, unfortunately. He was a great guy. But this niche station, he had listener support. So the listeners sent money in, so he didn't do advertising. And he never made a profit on it. He only wanted to break even. Then he stopped taking money. He just wanted to pay for the infrastructure.
right.
It's called the Memory Station. So now John H. Garabedian took it over after Bob died recently. John H. Bought the radio station, and he's playing great music, right? I hear Ben Orr from the Cars and Bobby Hebb Sonny. I'm coming home, and it felt like my friend Bobby was singing to me, right? And so I left a message for John H. I said, I'm not going to tell you who I am, but we had Thanksgiving dinner with Joe Perry and his wife some years back. See if you remember who I am. But I left him some suggestions and songs. He discovered Maggie May by Rod Stewart. So Mercury was pushing Reason to Believe.
Uh-huh.
And they came into his studio at MEX Boston, and they said, Reason to Believe. And he said, no, it's got to be the flip, Maggie May. And he's the one who kept pushing it. They told him not to, and he's the reason Rod Stewart became famous before his time. It really brought Rod to a whole other audience quicker. Rod would have been famous anyway, but this happened in Boston. And so I'm telling the Ben Orr group that, and sure enough, the next day I hear Maggie May on the Memory Station. So he broke some other hits too. John H. has been an industry in Boston, but it's nice that he bought this. I'm just telling you because it's a station that you can listen to. All the other stations I don't listen to either in the car.
Yeah, the ones down by me, they're terrible. The radio stations here in South Carolina, they're not good at all. I like to listen to. I have Sirius XM on my phone. I have the app on my phone. My wife has the radio where you can play it, in your car. My radio in my car doesn't have that. But I listen to 60s Gold. I love that station. The reason why I love that station is because they play a lot of music that reminds me of my father. My father used to listen to all that kind of music back in the day, like CBS FM, Cousin Brucey, Harry Harrison, all those guys. But there's a show on 60s Gold. It's on every week. It's called the Sirius XM 60 Satellite Survey. And every week they play I think it's the top 40 songs from, whatever date it is. And then they just choose a year. It could be 1968 this week or, 1961 the next week. And it's hosted by a guy named Dave Heffel. He's a disc jockey out of the Philly, South Jersey area. This guy has one of the best voices, and he's a great storyteller. He's just a phenomenal DJ.
Do you know Meg Griffin?
Not personally, but I've heard her show. I think she's great.
Yeah, Meg is kind of came in the very bottom. They hired her. They wanted her there before they opened the doors. And so she was talking in Gloucester, Mass. And Rob Fraboni was talking, and she's a big Fraboni fan. This is like 8 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so Sean Walsh flew up here from Florida to be with them, and she started playing Sean's song on her show.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, she's got a Saturday morning show. She's got a couple of shows, The Loft, but she's a very important DJ there. But she's a big Fraboni fan, and she She wanted to meet Rob, and they met at this function. Rob was doing the sound up there or something, and she was doing something else. So they got to meet finally.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and
That's
they got
pretty cool.
along great. They had a lot in common.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But Sirius, I've got it, but I don't have time to listen. So I've got it on my computer, but I haven't tuned in at all. I'll tune in for Meg, but I almost have to make an appointment to listen to a show.
Yeah.
Isn't that life these days?
Yeah, I used to pay for it. I had it in one of my other cars, and then I was like, you know what, I'm not paying for this. But my wife wanted it in her car. I think she just gets the music only or something like that, not the talk or anything. So, and then she had put the app on my phone. So when I'm at work, I can listen to, like I said, that 60 satellite survey because it's on demand. He posts the show. It's kind of like mine where he posts up all the episodes, so you can go back and listen to ones that he did a couple of weeks ago too. So that's the one thing I like about that. But they're kind of like regular radio too. If you listen to it enough, you'll notice that they play the same, um, you know, 500 songs every day. It's not really anything has changed.
Radio
So
isn't radio anymore. We're creative, and what you and I are doing right now is creative. We're just
right.
two guys talking and getting some content out there. But you know, I could change the subject and say, "Hey, Jimmy, I just finished the book last night, The Fox That Got Away." We could just it's fantastic. So I've had it sitting on my shelf for like 20 years. I get it at library sales or something, right? And I read them on the treadmill at the gym, and I'm like, Rob, this book is fantastic. It's like the Daryl Zanuck and the Dick Zanuck, and it's more of a history of the film business. It really gets into hard detail, and you can't put it down. And it's been out forever. What, Stephen M. Silverman, uh, The Last Days of the Zanuck Dynasty. Wow, I mean, it's just amazing and gives you real insight into how Dr. Doolittle was a bomb. Can you believe that?
Wow.
They made no money until 15 years later when Daryl Zanuck was smart, where he knew that the video cassette would bring them a lot of revenue where other people thought it would kill the industry. But Zanuck at 20th Century Fox knew. And Dr. Doolittle and, their big hit was The Sound of Music. But they made a lot of bombs. But now some of those bombs are turning revenue around from TV licensing and then video cassette and now streaming. So what the movie industry didn't look at was an investment in the future. They were just interested in what are the box office receipts right now. But as those old films started making money, it wasn't such a bad idea. But at the time, the whole war is covered in there. It's pretty, it's fascinating. And for we people, for you and I, Jimmy, we're artists. We care about stuff. It's just the record industry, the film industry is so cold. Now cut this, edit this. All those edits from Wizard of Oz, which were there's so many more songs they dropped. They got rid of all the tape. They almost didn't put Somewhere Over the Rainbow in it. It was supposed to be in it twice. They almost cut it. I mean, they make these decisions where they spend a fortune, and we now know what Wizard of Oz is. But anyway, yeah. So I read a lot. Do you read?
I used to. I don't really have time. I don't. I have a bunch of books here. A lot of them are music related. Like for instance, I got this one here. It's called Rock Quotes.
Oh wow.
It's the book of rock quotes. It basically has all famous quotes that musicians have said over the years, and they're all inside this book. I think it's like it's got to be about 200 something pages. But yeah, this one's interesting. Then I got another one called classic rock stories. I got books on all the charts from the 70s because when I was doing my music show too, I was a 70s whiz. I loved 70s music. I would do a 70s radio show every week. And I did that for quite a few years. So I have the Billboard Hot 100 from 1970 all the way up to 1979. I can basically look up every song, what chart it started at and what it finished at, and it's pretty cool.
Well, the knack is to get on the mailing lists when the new books come out. Like Mama Cass's daughter has a new book out on Mama Cass. So I'll call them up. I sent them an email, but I'm going to call them up. And generally, you can get these people on Zoom or to be on your radio show. So you can talk to Cass's daughter and you get the book for free. You can actually ask for 2 copies. So that's how I got Ray Manzarek of the Doors and, Suzanne Vega. In
Hmm.
fact, I knew all the publicists back in the 90s, and I've just kind of lost touch with them now. But I'm going to reactivate that. I've just been so busy, Jimmy, as you have. It's like, how do you do everything?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard for me to you know, uh, I did a lot more as far as the show goes a couple of years ago, but as I'm getting older, I'm working for some reason I'm working harder than I was when I was younger, and it takes up a lot of my time. So, um, you know, uh,
But you get
uh,
into a groove because you've been doing things for so long. So now, you know, the interviewing people is just natural. You do it so much.
yeah, I mean, I love doing it. If I could maybe do, 2 a week and then, hold on to one and not post it till the following week. So, I'm not going to mess with my charts or anything like that. I would love to do that too, but I just don't have the time.
Would Mixcloud let you get sponsors?
Well, you could get sponsors on your own, or you can get, they have a thing where you could set it up to get donations or tips or whatever I call it. But I was looking into doing that too, but I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. We'll see.
Yeah, but you do a fantastic job, man. You get into the inner lives of these people, and they really enjoy talking to you. And like Genya Raven, she was very happy to talk to you.
Yeah, she was fun. She was definitely fun to
Oh,
talk to.
she's a class act. I met her when I opened for Peter Noon in 1980. I had met Genya Raven in Florida at the Muse Expo. It was an expo, and she was running the record label because she signed Ronnie Spector. So she had a new Ronnie Spector album, and she had a T-shirt that said, "Who do I f to get off of this label?" That was their T-shirt, and she's walking around but that's Genya, and we became very close at that first meeting. So she's had me over the apartment, and yeah, she's just a great, great gal. I've known her same as Peter Noon for like 44 years. Is that ridiculous?
Yeah, you know what? That you mentioned her. She's the last book that I read. I ordered her book right after that interview, and I read it. It was pretty cool.
She asked me to get her someone to edit the book, and I got her someone. Right, he's really good,
Hmm.
and because he's Catholic and certain things in the book, he turned it down. I said, "Are you out of your mind?"
I know, just do it. But set your pride aside.
Well, I meet with the priests every week. He's like, he's 71 now, and
Say a Hail Mary and ask for forgiveness.
he hangs out with my ex girlfriend. They can, I could just tell you fun stuff, but these people that have talent, you know, my ex girlfriend used to run the fan club for the Buzzcocks. Remember Pete Shelley?
Yeah, yeah, of
So I
course.
became very close to Pete. He's gone now, but
Hmm.
I put his equipment in my house, and he was just a great human being, and he let me interview him. And but she was running Harmony in my head, and she should have been in the industry, but they go so far and then they stop. And another woman I know, she knew all the record execs and stuff, and they don't go further. And it's like, you have all this talent, why aren't you taking that leap? And I don't understand people.
Me neither, man. I don't get it. Some people I guess they're complacent or whatever. I don't know.
When you see a chance, take it. Steve Winwood.
Exactly.
It's like because life opens these doors for a reason. And who was your favorite guest?
That I've ever had on my show.
Or some of you? I'm not going to I'm not going to put you in a area where you have to go one a favorite. But what are some of your favorite shows? There we go that you've done.
Well, I'll have to say, the one with Lewis was great because, he basically, helped open the door for for the whole show to change gears and, just go to interviews. But I can name a few off the top of my head. Jimmy Sweet, the guy that I told you about earlier, he was great. For Brony, he was awesome. Sean Walsh was great. Corey M. Coons was great. He's a good friend of mine. He's from Canada. He's a singer-songwriter. He does Americana music. Um, Mike Floros from Steel City and Love and Chains. He's a very talented songwriter and guitarist. He just got signed to Frontiers, a major record label. I think they're out of Italy, I believe, but they sign a lot of U.S. artists. Kelly was great. Having her on the show was fun. Another guy, Danny Roberts, he's a country artist. He was like one of the first few artists that I had on the show. He recently passed away a couple of months ago. His cousin Mark had introduced me to him, and me and him became good friends. He was texting me all the time, probably a couple times a week. He was like, like an older brother to me, and Susie Quattro, she was fun. Genya Raven, love chatting with her, and Walter Egan. You remember Walter Egan?
Oh yeah.
He was on the show. Billy Vera was on my show. We talked about At This Moment and how that song's the gift that keeps on giving. He got a letter from Clive Davis, telling him, good luck. That you know, it's a decent song, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere. And I guess he proved him wrong because he's still collecting that royalty check for that song At This Moment. I mean, that was a big hit on that show, the Michael J. Fox show, Family Ties. That was in one of the episodes, and that's how that song took off. Did you know that?
Ah, that's okay. So
Sal Baglio is another one, and I enjoyed having him. And you remember the Penetrators, right?
no.
Penetrators, I believe they're from New York, but they have ties to Boston and stuff. Jack Lipton, Elliot Kagan, they were on the show. They're from the Penetrators. Jack recently passed away like a year or two ago, and he was a fun guy too. And another one, Liberty DeVito, the drummer from Billy Joel, he was
Yep.
on my show. He was fun too. So, I mean, there's so many. David Reese, I could name them all day long. Jelly Roll Johnson, uh, the harmonica player. I mean, he was a good guest too. So there's just so many. I mean, I can't really pick a favorite.
So I went to the Regent Theater to see Sal Baglio and Robin Lane. Have you interviewed Robin Lane yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh, Robin's incredible. So she had a Warner Brothers deal, and when things go wrong, but her father was the pianist for Sinatra and Dean Martin, and she was the girlfriend of Neil Young. So she was on Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere. She's on that album, but her father wrote Everybody Loves Somebody Sometime for Sinatra, and then he wrote it for Dean, and then Dean had a huge hit with it. So Robin is at the Regent with Sal. And I felt like being up on the balcony. I just went way up and I was videotaping them with my phone. And Sal comes out and starts dancing with Robin on the stage. And it was it was just great. They were like, wow, two old friends, but they were like dancing while the band is playing. And I thought that was so cool. And it was good to see everyone because I don't go out much, Jimmy. But it was Sal and Robin and John Butcher, and I wanted to go see my old friends. It was pouring rain, but I'm glad I did. Get yourself out of the house and go say hi to everyone. Oh, you should, because he's on the stage all the time. He's so good. I mean, his first we asked him to play on our first Paradise show, so he was unknown at the time, and the club liked him so much. It's the best concert club in New England. He got to open for a lot of major acts, but we brought him in, and it was my first time at this 850 seat hall, and we all did great. And boy, that was back in 1978. June 29th, 1978, we asked, my guitarist, Paul Lovell, said, call Sal Baglio. And so we played cantones with him, and then we played the Paradise with him, and that was the start. We were all building this scene, and it's funny that those of us still alive are out there doing it still in the same old scene 50 years later. I mean, it's been a half a century, Jimmy.
Time flies by, right?
Well, and a lot of music, and Sal Baglio and John Butcher and John Macy, they're creating some of the best music of their lives. So it's like fine wine. The industry would do better going after people who've been doing it for 50 years than finding new kids that don't know what they're doing, grabbing the publishing, putting them out, and then getting rid of them. If they want real music, again, like I said, the film industry, put out Sal Baglio's new stuff, because he's a master craftsman, as is Farron, as is Butcher, as in Robin Lane. I mean, it's just like they're masters of what they do. And I was there when they were young, and Robin Lane was incredible when she sounded like the Byrds. I mean, she had such a great band, and the major labels did not know what to do with them. Because the record would be, very stiff, and the live performance was so good. But that's what happened up here. Were you in the New Jersey scene, the rock scene down there?
Not really. I had some friends that had bands, and I had gone to see them play at a bunch of different places. When I was younger. But once I got into DJing, I kind of was doing that. I wasn't really focused on, going to local, shows and stuff like that. I did go to concerts, but I went to concerts for like established artists. I would go to the Garden or, to Philadelphia Spectrum if I was in Philly, or, Giant Stadium, places like that. But once I started doing my own thing with the DJing and stuff, I worked a lot. I worked almost every Friday and Saturday night, spinning somewhere. So
we have done an hour and 5 minutes, and my show is usually 55 minutes.
Wow.
There's been a lot of fun, James.
Oh, yeah.
James.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. How much time are you allotted?
Oh, I can go on and on, but I have to get to another TV station to get them the camera back. So an hour is good. Anything else you want to say?
No, I just want to thank you so much for, taking interest in this and putting me on the show. I really appreciate it. And if anyone wants to check it out, they can certainly go to my website, therecordmachineshow.com, and all the links are up there on there. The podcast button, my contact button, all the episodes that I've done so far. It's a little over 300, and you're more than welcome to check it out if you like it. You want to send me an email, you can certainly do that by hitting the contact button, or if you want to be on the show, you can do that as well.
Jimi Holl, you're a class act, and the bands really like being on your show. I get rave reviews about you. So thanks for being on my show.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, and anytime you want to chat again, I'm more than
we should do it again sometime.
More than happy to do it.
Cool, man. All right.
All right.
Thanks.
Take care.
Yep. Bye-bye.
All right.